Hey, it's Adam Lavelle from KnuckleTFUp.com. That is KnuckleTFUp.com. I'm here to talk about last night's terrific show in Sturgis at the famous motorcycle rally, if you will. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship number 79 came rolling into town, and I'm here to discuss every fight. That's right, all 11 of them. And give a score to the show in regard to my thoughts of it, entertainment value-wise, excitement of it, what have you. But before I do that, and I don't often ramble, I don't go on and on about other topics, I typically jump right into the show, right? Bear with me for one moment here, so I can talk about my man Zohan, the walkout jersey I'm wearing here. You can't see his name on the back, and I don't want to spin the whole way around. That's right. I'm talking about Randy the Zohan Costa, who appeared in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship number 61 and won in a remarkable fashion, looking really good against Mike Trezano, and he hasn't been back. He has a profile page on Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. I'm sitting here looking at it. I know not everybody can appear on every fight. I know they need breaks and such, but 61 is going back a little bit of ways, guys. Let's get on it. Let's get the man Zohan back on a show. Got a little clip here beside me showing you his walkout wearing this exact jersey. I contacted him. I wanted one. I got one. I'm proudly wearing it because I will do that for the fighters I like. Fighters, if you're out there, share my page. Talk to me on social media. I am just finally starting to befriend some bare knuckle fighters on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. I will put you over. I will buy your merch. I will tell the world all about you and bare knuckle fighting. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, Bare Knuckle Boxing, Bad to the Bone, Clan Fighting Championship, Top Dog. I watch them all. I love them all. And I will put you over. And if you talk to anybody who's familiar with me in professional wrestling, they'll tell you that too. I will help you sell merchandise. I will help you get noticed. And hopefully, from that, it will help you get booked. I don't have any influences on bookers and the people who make the cards and the shows, but I can be influential to other fans to check things out. And it's my goal. It's my mission. It's my side hustle, if you will, even though I'm not making a dime, and that's fine. To get this fighting over, to get fighters over, to make bare knuckle fighting the biggest thing in the world. And if I can be a small piece of that, brother, it will make my life. Honestly, I turned around and left professional wrestling because it's so silly, it's so stupid, it's so ridiculous, it's so over the top. After watching it for 48 and a half years and being involved on the independent scene myself for around 10 years, now I need to be where the real fighting exists. And that's bare knuckle, baby, including my man, the Zohan, Randy Costa. Get him in there. Get him fighting. I want to see more of him. And if I want to see more of him, I'm absolutely certain there are plenty of others who would love to see him too. But let's jump into Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship number 79 from Sturgis. It kicked off with Gdoi versus Paco Castillia. And in the first round, Gdoi jabbed Castillo repeatedly. He had a left jab that was just working for him, getting in there, getting out. I know a lot of times you look at jabs and you think it's just a jab, but let me tell you what, man, Gdoi just dominated with Castillo. It's almost like Castillo couldn't defend it. Wasn't quick enough. I'm not sure what it was. I'm not putting Castillo's skills down. But as a commentator, I have to sit here and venture a guess and an opinion on what I see. And what I saw was Castillo just completely getting jabbed over and over and over until it finally knocked him down in the first round. And when he got up, his face was a bloody mess. He was wearing the crimson mask, if you will. Rightfully earned. No razor blades here, baby. The fists did it to Castillo's face. In the second round, Castillo started landing some overhands. Looked pretty good. I think it was a right overhand, if I believe so. Whenever Gdoi would get that jab in, Castillo would land an overhand. But they didn't seem to be doing as much damage to Gdoi as his jabs were doing to Castillo. But to his credit, Castillo did better in the second round, but his face was still swollen, and those jabs are just lethal. Round 3 was a little bit more even, because both guys were a little bit gassed at this point. Not completely gassed out, but you could tell they were tired. They had done a lot of swinging. They had done a lot of defending. Sometimes I got to slow down my voice, just like some fighters need to slow down the pace of a fight, even though we all love fast-paced fights. Sometimes you got to slow it down a little bit and get a little more technical, and that's what both guys did in the third round, which was the best round of the night. At least if you want to see a pretty even, well matched up fight where you're sitting there wondering who could possibly win this. That said, Castillo could not answer the bell for the 4th round. It was a doctor stoppage. He took one look at Castilla's face, and it was too damaged, it was too cut, it was too dangerous for him to continue, even though to his credit, he would have. Most of these fighters are tough as hell and will continue no matter how battered and bruised they were. But Dan Gdoi kicks off the show with a big win over Paco Castillia. Good fight, in my opinion. Next up, we had Cody Kerr. Now, this was fun, folks. Cody Kerr versus Dylan Bladen, and this son of a bitch didn't last long. The hometown boy from Sturgis himself knocked Dylan Bladen out after a serious combo to his face. So that's right, Cody Kerr got in his face, boom, 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 multiple combinations to his face, and down went Dylan Bladen. It was over. I didn't catch the time. I don't remember the time. You know, it was a minute or so. It was just unbelievable. Incredible win for Cody Kerr. And again, that's not knocking Bladen, but what Bladen did, and let me tell you something, Conor McGregor called this out on X. Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor's calling you out, it's good for both of you. It's going to be good for Cody Kerr and Dylan Bladen, even though he called Dylan Bladen out, because Cody Kerr got on the mic afterwards and said, I was motivated to knock this son of a bitch out because he went on his Facebook and he said he was coming for my teeth. And he didn't like that. You know, Cody Kerr didn't like that, and Conor McGregor called it out on X and said, don't be making threats on social media if you can't back it up, because it's like, you know, when you watch other sports and you hear about bulletin board material, right? You heard about some players or group of players said something about the other team, and the coaches hung those quotes from the newspapers up in the locker room to motivate the players to kick their ass, right? It often works. Not always, but it often works. And here, this was the same thing. Social media is your bulletin board. Social media is you calling the other fighter out. And Cody Kerr saw that call out and was like, I don't think so. And he went out there with something to prove, and by God, he proved it. Boom! Down goes Dylan Bladen, and the big first round knockout goes to Cody Kerr. This is quick, folks, but you can enjoy something that is extremely quick. You watch the promos before, you watch the promos after, smush it together with however long the fight is, and you've got a bare knuckle sandwich, if you will. Next up, we had the third fight of the night, Timmy Mason taking on A.J. Craig. Mason was so quick and powerful, busting up Craig's face badly, knocking him down twice, not long into the fight. Craig was tough, and he kept coming, but he was no match for Mason here. Not in this match. Would there be a rematch? And he would be. I'm not saying a loser's always capable of morphing and turning into a winner, which we'll talk about in the main event. That's one of the greatest things about bare knuckle fighting. Anybody can win. You can be 0 for whatever and climb your way back to a title, because your record doesn't ruin you in bare knuckle fighting. It can't, because it's too hard to win all your bouts. You know, and guys do it 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, but it ain't going to last forever. It can't. You'll eventually eat something that you just can't avoid. And since it's not a glove, but bare knuckles, you're going down, you're going out, you're getting injured, you're being slowed down. That's what's going to happen. And let me tell you what, that's what happened here. Timmy Mason just beat the piss out of A.J. Craig's face. I mean, the blood out of it for sure. And after round 1, they checked his face, and the doctor again stops this. Tommy Mason's wins by TKO. Some people might say, man, what's with all the doctor stoppages? Guys, look, you can't doubt your doctors. You can't question your doctors. If a doctor says it is not medically safe for this guy to continue, you listen to him. You just don't know. And you can't get mad or pissed or angry that a fight is stopped because a doctor has determined somebody could get seriously maimed, injured, or even die. You know, talking about brain damage, you know, you just never, ever know. So that was the decision there. In the next fight, it was Travian Kroger taking on Daniel Pettit, and damn, did both of these guys explode on each other in the first round. Just massive blows. Both guys taking it, eating it. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, there was no sweet science here. There was no technicality here. There was no taking your time and picking your shots. There was no floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. These came out, and I like to say, an old Dusty Rhodes imitation of Bull of the Woods. They came out like the Bull of the Woods and just went after each other with everything they have. I love wild fights. I love exciting fights, so I love this. But also, as a fight fan, you have to realize at times guys have to slow it down and gain some sense of control. You're going to get knocked the hell out or injured if you try to fight wildly round after round after round. Now, do we see it in bare knuckle fighting? Absolutely. Do we love it when we see it? Absolutely. Do we fans encourage it? We sure as hell do. But you have to understand and sometimes encourage and hope for a fight to slow down. Because as exciting as it is, as fun as it is for we fans, and sometimes the fighters, they get it, well, they're enjoying it too. It can lead to exhaustion. It can lead to you being completely gassed. So to their credits, they did slow it down here a little bit, but not much. They both flew at each other through this first round. The fight is stopped before the second round can even begin when Pettit cannot continue. He just can't. His team, the ref didn't do this. The doctor didn't do this. His team took a look at him, said, dude, we got to throw in a towel. There was no visible towel, but they told the referee, no, he's done. And that was it. Travian Kroger wins the wild fight by TKO. Okay, next up, we had Bear Hill versus Billy Swanson. Bear Hill, the last barbarian, I believe is his name, his nickname, if you will. And boy, does he look the part. He is a big, bald, bearded fellow. In the weigh-ins, he painted half of his skull blue, looking like a member of Braveheart's crew or something. I'm sorry if I'm calling out the wrong ethnic group. I'm sorry. Just what it reminded me of. These are two big heavyweights. Billy Swanson, he looked like he ought to be on the cover of Brawny Paper Towels, and carrying an axe or something. Maybe that should be his gimmick. He'd carry an axe to the ring. But I'm telling you, these two, again, went a little wilder at each other, much like the fight before this, though not quite as much because these guys are heavyweights. They're not in the lighter weights like the last match. And it did slow down a little bit as it went, but the first round was even. It was pretty even. Both of those guys just clubbing each other, both of those guys eating shot after shot. Round two was a much slower pace from both men. Hill was a little more aggressive here. The whole fight long, that was the theme. Hill was a little more aggressive. At first round, hard to call. Pretty much even, in my opinion. Second round, slower, because they're big heavyweights and you don't want to gas yourself out. They come out, take their time, but Hill was still the one who was more aggressive. He set the pace all fight long. Okay, just as simple as that. Swanson slipped late in the third round, and Hill took advantage of that. Let me tell you, you see fighters slip all the time, or they throw each other, they push off each other from a clinch, and one of them falls. It doesn't count. It doesn't take points away. Ref calls it, that's a slip, that's a slip. But Hill, as soon as the ref cleared Swanson that he was good to go after he stood back up, Hill charged in and just meleeed him, just flurried him to death, pressured him on and on and on, punching and punching and punching. Swanson went down twice during this melee, and on the second time he went down, he pretty much stayed down. He wasn't knocked the hell out completely. Of course, Bear Hill wins this by knockout, as he should, but it just felt like Swanson was overwhelmed. I'm not saying Bear didn't hurt him. I'm not saying Bear didn't earn the win. He absolutely did, but it felt like Swanson was like, damn it, shit, the hell with this. I mean, and to Bear's credit, he overwhelmed him as he stood up from being knocked down. And like I said, he waited on the ref to say, knuckle up, that's good to go. And he stormed him. And I felt like Bear felt it was time to end this. And if Swanson could have responded, he just couldn't. He was slower. He was slower all fight. Even though it was good, he was slower. Hill set the pace, like I said. And the pace destroyed Bear after that knockdown, or after that slip, and getting back up. Very interesting stuff there. Next up, we had a women's fight. Shana Bentliff. I think I'm friends with her on Facebook, so forgive me. It's Shyanna. Shana Bentliff taking on Marisol Ruiz. And both ladies did very good in the first round. I would say it was pretty much even, except for one counter left from Ruiz that knocked Bentliff down. So how can I say a round was even if someone got knocked down? Okay, before the knockdown, it was looking pretty even. It was looking very hard to call. I didn't know how the judges would score that, but Bentliff got knocked down to the canvas. It was a quick jab, and poof, just shocked her, hit her full force, and she went down. In the second round, though, Bentliff came out super aggressive. It's like, damn it, woman, you knocked me down, I'm coming for your head, and that's what she did. Ruiz fought back hard, don't get me wrong. Ruiz, you could tell she was sort of shocked, like, whoa, okay, we're going this way. This is how we're going to do it now. And she kept up, but she took a lot more damage to her face and went down for a 10 count in the second round. It was basically a comeback win It was a comeback win for Bentliff because she was knocked down in the first. Even though before that it was pretty even. She decided, nope. Came out in the second round, boom, 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 boom. Knocked her down and out, she did, to Ruiz, and wins the fight. Big knockout win for Bentliff. Congratulations. That was an exciting 2-rounder. It really was. Next up, we had Brandon Meyer taking on Elvin Breto. Now, I got notes here in front of me that sometimes I read directly and sometimes I just glance at here. You can probably, if you watch my eyes, you can see that. But guys, I just got to talk about Elvin Breto for a minute. I didn't know how to take him. They said he had an unusual style. And this dude, literally, this is not hyperbole, this is not exaggeration. This dude never stops moving. He has got an engine in him that never runs out of gas. He is always swinging. Literally, the dude left, right, he changes stances. This dude, they said he's unconventional, and he is. Everything they say about this guy is completely true. Now, that's taking nothing away from Meyer. Okay? Nothing away from him. The first round was pretty even. I felt like that as active as Elvin Breto was, Brandon was matching him, not in speed, but in countering. Pretty much in countering. Round 2 saw Breto pick up his pressing. That's what blew my mind. Okay, Breto was incredible, pushing the pace in the first round. And to his credit, Meyer kind of kept up with him. Not speed-wise, but again, with the countering, the blocking, the countering, he did. The second round, it's like this guy, Breto, shifted gears and went even harder. Most fighters slow down as they go. This guy's picking up the pace. I mean, damn. I mean, he really did. There's no doubt Breto is pushing the pace and throwing far more strikes. But nothing seems to have hurt Meyer too badly up to this point. Round 3 saw Breto advance even more. So as these rounds went on, Elvin Breto turned it up. This dude didn't slow down once. Can you tell I've gained a hell of a lot of respect for this guy? It's unbelievable. Breto presses and presses and swings, and his opponent tries to, Brandon Meyer tries to counter, but he doesn't do great at it. He tries, he makes an attempt, sometimes successfully, a lot of times not. He's missing his counters. Meyer goes down at the end of 3, but answers the bell, gets up before the 10 count, and is ready to go to round 4. But as soon as the bell sounds for round 4, Breto advances and backs Meyer into the ropes and explodes with body shots over and over and over and over. And they get a little clinchy, and the ref would break them up, and boom, 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 Breto would come back, and into the ropes would go Meyer. You had to see this to believe it. Meyer was defending the best he could, but this had to be stopped. The referee steps in here, standing knockout. Breto threw 197 strikes in this fight. I had the statistics somewhere. They might be in something flashing by me here. I'm not sure. Don't remember. But I don't care. 197 strikes and landed most of them. This dude is the Energizer freaking Bunny, for those of you old enough to understand that reference. He's the Timex that takes a licking and keeps on ticking. He is the man. Good luck stopping this guy. He seems virtually, you have to get, I didn't get a really good clue as to what his jaw might be like, how strong of a jaw he has, because, Meyer didn't get a good shot to his face. I think it's the only way you stop this guy. You got to knock him out. You got to get in the midst of his ridiculous striking, land a shot, and hope that it knocks him out. I think it's the only way you really stop him, from what I saw. Crazy. Next up, we saw David Simpson take on Brandon Connelly, and Simpson came out like a man possessed. He took Connelly into the ropes and legit pounded him down to his knees, and the ref stopped it. Yeah, this was over that quick. Now, there's some controversy here. Did the referee, was this a bad stoppage? Okay, I can see why. Why? Because Connelly was not injured. After this unbelievable pressure and beating, seriously, Simpson beat him and pounded him. Now, he was defending, don't get me wrong, but he just came on so strong that Connelly dropped to he was basically on his knees. His butt was sitting on the bottom rope, and it was Simpson who dropped to his knees so he could keep punching him. It was wild. You have to see it to believe it. Now, I am going to defend the ref a little bit. We're not related, and he doesn't owe me money. But, look, what he saw was an insane barrage from one fighter onto another, with the fighter getting beaten down, not responding. So I think that's why he stopped it. It's like, you're not defending yourself. Maybe, did he say something? Anybody catch that? Did he say, you need to defend yourself or I'm going to call it? I don't know. I didn't hear him. That doesn't mean he didn't. Maybe he did. But that's my opinion as to why it was stopped. It just looked like a massacre. When Connelly stood, he's like, what the? He didn't have a mark on him. Maybe a tiny little bruise or something, but very, very little marks on him. Very, very little effect. I didn't see any effect. He was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go. And very disgusted that the ref stepped in and stopped it. But they both shrugged it off and embraced, and David Simpson gets the big, quick first-round knockout. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm not really going to argue with anybody. I don't mind discussing it because it is what it is. The ref made the decision, and the decision stands. Unfortunately, for Brandon Connelly, who I think could have gone again, but Simpson did his job and made it look like he was overwhelming his opponent to the point that it had to be stopped. Next up, we had another very interesting fight. We had Zack Culmus versus Cory Willis. Cory, what you talking about, Willis? I'll say it right for you, Cory. I'll say it right for you. No offense to anybody else who says it. What you're talking about is an old reference to a show called Different Strokes, where a white man, Mr. Drummond, and his daughter Kimberly bring into their life, adopt two young black boys, Arnold and Willis. And I don't want to keep talking about that old TV show, but just letting you know, Arnold was a small little man. I mean, I don't know, midget or little person. I don't know the correct term. He was a small guy. He never really grew much ever. Even when he was a man, he was still like 4 foot tall. But back in the day, when he was a child, he was all cute and would say these funny things. And one of those, anytime his brother said something that shocked him, surprised him, he didn't want him to say, he'd look at him with this funny face and be, what you talking about, Willis? And that, since Cory's last name is Willis, is where that comes from. Cory, what you talking about, Willis? I like it, because I watched that show. If you didn't, you're probably scratching your head and wondering, what in the hell is this dude talking about? But Cory Willis rushed in, and it led to a lot of clinching, because Culmus is a clincher. He feels his best fighting is in the clinch. He's a dirty boxer, if you will. But for some strange reason, anytime there was a clinch here, all Culmus seemed to do was hook his hand over the head of Willis in almost a headlock position, and the ref has to separate that every time. You can't do that. You can't put your opponent in a headlock. I'm not saying Culmus was trying to break rules. That's just how the clinch worked out for him. Not very well. So I was curious to see this hockey fighter, as he described himself, do some clinch fighting, and he did very little of it. And I'm not insulting his skills. It just didn't seem to work. Maybe it's Willis's thing. Maybe Willis knew it and managed to clinch in a way that he had the advantage. That seemed to be what happened to me. But when the ref separated them, Willis would come in and land a strike after strike after strike while Culmus ate them and sometimes smiled. I mean, Culmus was like, he ain't hurting me, brother. After getting pounded in the face, had let us know it ain't hurting. Well, you're still getting hit, my friend. You're still getting hit, even though it doesn't hurt. He's busted up. He's bloodied, and that played into us. Culmus, again, said he was good in clinch, but I didn't see that here. I saw Willis dominate here, and the doctor stopped it after examining the cuts on Culmus' eyes after 2 rounds. Cory, what you talking about, Willis? Wins by TKO after 2 rounds. I thought this would be a better fight. No, not insulting Zack in any way, but I wanted to see some hockey fighting. I did not see it. I saw a one-sided fight, and Cory Willis won. We are up to the co-main event. The show's running a little longer than normal. I like to stick right around the 20-minute mark, but I had my Zohan speech to give at the beginning, and I gave you a little lesson on different strokes. So let's jump into this co-main event of the night. It was Shelby Cannon versus Taylor Starling. Now, again, this is another one where I have a bunch of notes, and I'm going to glance over at them, but I'm going to tell you, I like this fight. Both ladies did a tremendous job. It was a 5-rounder. Both of them were striking. Both of them were defending. The thing is, Taylor Starling had a 5-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. It didn't matter. It didn't matter, not in my opinion. Now, I saw Cannon get inside every time she wanted. I saw Cannon swinging and landing a lot. Now, she didn't beat her down. It wasn't unmerciful. And I'm not saying Starling didn't have offense. She did. She had a lot of strikes that landed too. But I'm telling you, Cannon landed more officially. At the end of this fight, the results the statistics told us that Cannon landed like 71%, I believe it was, and Starling landed like 50-some percent. So I thought, Cannon's winning this. I would have given her every round. All 5 rounds. I think she won unanimously, but I don't think she killed her. Well, how can you say that, Adam? Well, because Starling fought well. She's great. But what Starling is known for is her fast pace and her constant coming in, her constant moving, her constant advancing, right? Not in this fight. She circled, defended, and counterstruck is what she did. And she did it well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This was a close fight. I just feel that Cannon won every one of them by her constantly landing more shots and changing the style of Starling. Starling had to adapt her style completely. But the judges saw it the other way. Completely the other way. They gave Starling the win by unanimous decision. Now, I'm not pissed. I typically don't get that way unless it's a horrible thing. This was close. This was bad. This was the wrong call. This was a bad call. And I like Starling. I have nothing against her. Both of them prayed together after the fight was over. I was touched by that. I thought that was pretty cool. Starling, to her credit, when interviewed in the ring afterwards, said, "Oh, I was worried I lost that one. I felt like they sort of moved away from that quickly, like they didn't want to hear that." But she said that. She goes, "I was a little worried. I was a little worried. Cannon did great, so great that I thought, girl, you might have lost this one." Well, girl, you're a great fighter, and I enjoy watching you, but you did lose that one. And for some reason, the judges, who know more than me, I might have said referees, but I don't know. The judges decided you won all 5 rounds. And if you can watch this and tell me Starling won all 5 rounds, you don't have to agree with me that Cannon won all 5 rounds. That's fine. But no one can tell me that Starling won every single one of these rounds. Kind of ridiculous. Good fight. Still a big fan of both of them. Cannon still needs to get her shots and her opportunities. She shouldn't slip down the card after this. Not at all. She needs to stay at or near the top. Starling will advance ahead of her, of course. But Cannon needs to stay near the top because I think she won that. And if not, it was like 3 rounds to 2. And I don't know what 3 rounds I would have given Starling. Great job, girl, but I just don't. Just don't. Finally, it was the main event. I say finally. This could have gone on forever. I love this. This was the 11th fight of the night. Julian Lane took on Gorhon Sloves. And this was for the vacant welterweight title. And heavy favorite was Sloves. Heavy favorite. I don't remember the numbers, but nobody, very few, expected Julian Lane to come into this and win. Why? Because, well, he just recently won his last 6 fights. That's how he got this fight. Before that, he had lost 6 fights in a row. I mean, he had to put his big boy britches on and storm back from 6 losses in a row and work his way into a title fight. And because he has so many losses, I think he has 8 losses or something like that, Sloves thought he had this one. And I'm not saying he went into this cocky or a big head or something. I'm not saying that. But I think he definitely, and you should go into a fight thinking you haven't won. I believe that. But I think it paid some problems with him, or caused some problems with him. While both fighters were very aggressive and fast-paced, it led to a lot of clinching and almost near takedowns. It felt like for the first round that these guys wanted to roll around like UFC fighters on the mat. They didn't, but the clinches were so low. The clinches caused knockdowns, takedowns, if you will, suplexes almost. It was starting to get on my nerves. Just a little bit. I respect the hell out of both these guys, but for the first couple minutes, I'm like, guys, stop. I mean, they were just going so hard that it ended up in strong clinches when they're almost tripping and falling over each other onto the ground. It bothered me a little bit. The ref actually told them this isn't wrestling. I love a fast-paced fight, but not if the fighters can't maintain control. Keep fast-paced. I love fast-paced, but if you're falling and tripping into and over each other, it's time to slow down and reevaluate what they're doing. Hey, they're the professional fighters. I'm just some guy on the internet. I know. That's how I see it. Yeah, the second round was a little more controlled, but still too much inside wrestling. I mean, they were clinching. Dirty boxing is cool. I watch dirty boxing. It's one of the few gloved promotions I will watch. But I don't want to see that in bare knuckle fighting. Not the constant dirty boxing. It's part of the game, and I love it. But these guys did so much. The ref is pushing and pulling them apart for the second round. Sloves was far more aggressive in round 3, but got knocked down by Lane for a standing 8 count. In the round where Sloveski was the most aggressive, round 3, it cost him a knockdown, and that can happen. When you're wild and just coming in and wanting to end the fight and wanting to knock somebody out, it's fun and exciting and interesting, but it can lead to you dropping your guard and getting knocked down, and that's what happened here in the 3rd round. The 4th round saw Sloveski do a lot better and get a ton of shots in, but toward the end of the 4th, Lane got a ton of shots. Honestly, both of these men have proven they have incredible steel jaws. I mean, these guys, they weren't getting knocked out for anything. Yeah, Sloveski got knocked down, but not out. Neither fighter was close to being knocked out. Unbelievable the amount of power these two have, not just in their swings, but in their body's ability to absorb punishment. This was a knockdown slobber knocker, if you will. It was unreal. But in the 5th round, as we went to the 5th round, Sloveski got knocked down for the 2nd time, and the writing is on the wall. For the remainder of the round, both men went hard, but Lane knew he just had to survive. I'm not saying he wasn't trying to win. I'm not. But when you knock your opponent down twice, and it's the 5th round, and they're only 2-minute rounds, you're damn well aware that if I just survive this, I've won. He's not knocked me down once. I've knocked him down twice. I know the brawling and the fighting has been fairly even. Maybe it's even leaning my way. But these 2 knockdowns will win it for me. And that is exactly what happened. At the end of the 5th round, the judges came together and gave the win, the welterweight championship, and the huge upset to Lane. Julian Lane, the new bare knuckle fighting championship welterweight champion. Like I said, in a huge upset and an exciting 5-rounder where both men were aggressive as hell. My personal opinion is Sloveski was just a little bit too cocky going into this and didn't give Lane credit for 6 wins in a row. And the losses Sloveski has were to some of the best fighters in the world. And he said that. And I think Sloveski sort of like, yeah, they were still losses, you know. But mostly I think Sloveski was a little uncontrolled. He went in a little bit too much, wanted to flurry, wanted to flail, wanted to just go nuts. And it cost him because he was knocked down twice in the midst of being the most aggressive he was in the whole fight. And we have a new champion. That's my look at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship number 79 from Sturgis. Guys, this show is a 9 out of 10. It was exciting. It was fun. What's keeping me from giving it a 10 out of 10? The decision in the women's co-main event. I'm sorry. Not because my girl didn't win. I didn't have a favorite going in. I didn't. I like both of them. But I think that was ridiculous. I'm not angry. I'm not going to get on the internet and type like some kind of retarded monkey about it. I respect them both. I'm okay with who won. I just totally disagree. And it yanked the point off of it. It would have been a 10 out of 10 without that. Even if it would have been, Starling would have won by split decision. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. But unanimous? No damn way. But this was a great show. Highly recommended again. 9 out of 10. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship does it again. The best combat sport in the world. I'm Adam Lavelle. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel here, knuckletfup.com. Get me in the algorithm. Getting me in the algorithm gets Bare Knuckle Fighting out on the YouTube panels and pop-ups and recommendations for people to watch. That's all I want. Again, I'm not looking to be a star. I'm 55 years old. I have a job that I like and respect a lot that I hope to retire from. But help me get this stuff out there if you love it too. Come on, guys. Let's get it done. Knuckle up and get it done. And I'll be back to discuss more bare knuckle fighting real soon.